Hey guys. So I was just in the process of getting ready for this reading, and it just unfolded right when I asked for the cue, called it in, said Pua-Pua. It's happening, and it's quite obvious. Is this a disruption or is this a gift? Whether to go left or go right, time to go within and figure it out. What makes you happy, right? What celebrates your journey? What brings in, right, back to that rainbow light, right? What's that space of fulfillment or wholeness from within you? Once again, it's not outside of you, it's from within, right? So it's not going to externalize before it internalizes. It's internal before it is external. And from that space reveals a gift, right? A sense of inspiration, something that's that go window, right? With the Ace of Pentacles. But it brings up a lot. So with this gift comes the disruption. Okay. And that disruption is because it can bring up a lot of worry. It can bring up concern. These are the kinds of things that are kind of like your golden ticket to move, to create, to shift, to do in a new way. This inspiration is about a new beginning, but within the new beginning is also the loss of the old identity. So why do we worry over the Ace of Pentacles? Why are we worrying about a really beautiful inner experience that brings a seed of joy? What's the concern? Oh. Well, the concern is in regards to our own personal child, right? I feel like when we see Page of Cups, it's a very hard-opened, innocent new beginning. But I think the newness within it brings up a lot, right? So yes, there is a gift in love. There is a gift in this perception of what is to come. But obviously, it has its natural built-in fears and concerns. And it's because it's like, what happens when we stare at the fish, right? It's like, this feels like the cup itself is kind of like the scrying tool, which is, it's that moment to kind of reflect and to observe, and then something from our own nature is shown to us. It's the thing that keeps us up at night. These are natural worries and concerns, because it's like, how is this going to get done? How is this going to happen? How am I going to handle this? Well, the thing is that you're dissolving the older self that has denied you access to your own personal, I want to say your own personal rainbow, right? And it's interesting, like this internal effervescent aura glow holds and bestows a gift. Look at this waveform here. Look at this waveform. This waveform. It's of treasures, it's of gifts, it's of silliness, it's of lightness, it's of celebration, it's of everything coming together. It is a space of divine alignment. But it bookends, right? Not sure what to do, and perhaps a little bit of insecurity. So let's look at our child, right? Let's look at our child. What occurred to us as a child that affects our abundance? What affected us as a child that limited or suppressed our happiness, told us that dreams couldn't come true, that we weren't allowed in, we weren't allowed to, right? This is straight up threshold energy, and it's showing us our own limitations and blockages so we can open up, right, to the core of beauty. It's really interesting because we're actually seeing that there is something really built within our own experience, in our own personal presence, that's really beautiful, and it's happening right now, and it is a gift. But it's a gift that when we look into it is bringing up something. So the idea here is to not look away, but to glance at and to softly observe the beautiful harmony that's taking fold in our own life and the beautiful blossoming. Hence why Pua-Pua is coming through, which is it's Hawaiian for flower blossom, child. There's a lot of definitions for this, but it was an energy that showed up for me the other day And it was really beautiful. It was magical. It was funny. And it showed up through the crystals. It showed up through the Andaras. And it came through as a bigger kind of like Maui vibe. And it was calling itself Pua-Pua. And it was really beautiful. But it also showed a lot about things that are occurring to the inner child. So there is a gift in us being able to reclaim the innocence of our own personal power, the innocence of our own personal space, but also reclaiming a sense of our own divinity within the inner child. So when we stare into the chalice, when we stare into the cauldron, when we stare into the light of our own experience, when we step into the symbology of what this represents, what comes forward for us is the divine inspiration to take action. But it can bring up a lot, which is when the worried mind or the air of communication can start to show us where our mind isn't in full alignment, right? Where our insecurities aren't in full alignment with beautiful things happening for us. So this is releasing ourselves from a block, right? This is that a part of the unconsciousness, that which we don't want to see about our own personal journey, our own personal happiness, perhaps about our own family, perhaps our own paradise, right? And our sense of the paradisial suns coming through and coming true for us, right? Because it's about what comes up when we stare into this experience, when we stare into the sun, when we stare into the light. When we stare into the light, what reflects back? There we go. The light moving forward, the personal ascension. So the personal ascension is about that tipping point. It's the precipice of change. It's the uncloaking, the unveiling, but it is the light moving forward. So the hermit is back into the sense of reclamation of the divine self, right? And the ability to create change through ancient and ancestral wisdom. It's a space of reclaiming the higher light from within that guides. It's reclaiming that the light that you stare into that reflects the unconsciousness, that reflects the pain, that reflects the block, is also the guide. So when we see the light from within, when we are bestowed back with this blessing of eternity, it is revealing, but it is guiding. So when it reveals, don't block, limit, or suppress. Allow it to also be a nurturing and loving guide for your personal ascension. Okay. The ability to start reorganizing life to get this thing done, or to take action on this thing, to know that happiness, dreams, and wish fulfillment can come true. The energy of Virgo is the reprioritizing, the organizing, how we put it all together, right? So Star Virgo through the Hermit is saying, take this moment of shift to redo. And perhaps reframe. There's a sense of reanalyzing this experience because you're going to begin seeing things in a new way. Once again, stare into the light. What do we see? Right? The things that keep us up at night. Stare into the light and see the things that keep you up at night. Embody the child, right? The child, the silliness, the laughter, the play. Like, what have you told your own inner child, your own inner universe that says this can't happen, right? Right? Those limiting or suppressing moments, those things that blocked you or told you couldn't, you're reorganizing life because it can. The core value is actually speaking openly and honestly to you, that's saying, yes, it can. Magic can occur, right? This new reality can take place. You have the key to unlock this next level of your experience, and you can honor this path and you can step beyond, right? This is a gift granting you access to that beyond space, and that beyond space is carrying you. It's taking you to. But the mind's conception of what this represents is what we're healing. Here's why. Conditioning. Life itself has entrained the reality to say this isn't true. Culturally, financially, This is deeper ingrained belief systems in the reality, in the personal experience, in the collective experience. Let's say this isn't possible, and as a result, the kindness, the love, the humility, and the humanity is what breaks this loose, because it's a caring space of things actually come together. This is a space of unity, not separation. So the unity from within disrupts the separation, and what we see at a glance is the separation. Back to why the Page of Cups stares at the fish, right? All representative of water, all representative of like the psyche, the unconsciousness, love, right? Whatever water represents to you. So when you step into this cup and you reflect on the thing that you are glancing at, right? Are you able to step back into observer mode and create the shift? Back to reorganizing life to allow that to happen. What are the action steps you need to put in your own personal peak, in your own personal ascension, in your own personal shift, right? Is all this thing uncloaks from itself. What do you do with that which you see? Is there a healthy level of curiosity, right? Can you understand that there are aspects of you that can see more than you're probably aware of? It's just about validating it within your own consciousness, because this isn't about blind man theory, especially when it's very obvious that what you see. We see 2 cards of gazing. The introduction here saying I can't see, and I can't see, and as a result, since I can't see, I can't make a decision. But this is also where we close the eyes and we go just behind the eyes and go within, and that's when it's revealed. And what it reveals is actually that from an open heart, right? And it's something that's happening, late at night. It's the thing that's happening when we're all alone. There's something that we're seeing and that we're in training within the self that gives us an opportunity to see through the mind's eye solution of what it is that we need to get done, and the thing that returns love back to the chalice. So this is stating that companionship is possible. Friends, loved ones, beloveds, family. Reunification is possible. Things coming together is possible, right? The money, the healing, the resources, it is available. The worry and the concern is just the conditioning. It's the limited self seeing itself for the first time. And as a result, this is why you're saying love. That version of self, bring it to love, bring it to innocence, and then reorganize life to get it done. There we go, right? It's like when we look at the legacy, when we look at everything coming together, when we look at like the stability of the home, the family, the life, the resources, the money, like thrive is possible, but we've got to reorganize life to thrive. Not to the limitation and the suppression, but it doesn't mean that we avoid it. We respond to it with kindness. We bring it love. We allow it to be a teacher, but we don't allow it to be a guide anymore, because it's just something that we too have to dissolve and offer a loving hand to, because perhaps it's been alone, perhaps it's been upset, perhaps it's been bothered, perhaps it's ready to see clearly now how beautiful it is. It's ready for its wisdom to return. Oh, there we go. All as a result of the sun. Right, so the sun having a direct effect or a direct influence on life and light is possible, and light is revealing the truth of our abundance and scarcity. It's bringing up our happiness and unhappiness. It's bringing up I cans and I can'ts, but it's all leading us back to that space of optimism and joy. So the sunlight actually completely is a part of the exposure of this experience. It's a part of the illumination of this experience, but it's also a part of the sense that's saying optimism returns and flourishing is experiencing itself again. This is stating that the seeds can harvest and they can blossom. This is the essence of Pua-Pua, right? And that's the blossom, that's the flower, that's the return, that's the flourishing experience. This is the optimism. This is the things are working out. This is the encouragement, the self-empowerment, but this is also the solar rays doing what they're doing. It's really cool. It's allowing the sun in to create and to expose and to flourish. There we go. It's the freedom and the liberator, right? It is the one that is showing us our blocks. It's the one that is showing us our blindness. It is the one that's showing us our stucks and limitations. It's the one that is showing us where to go. It is the thing that is releasing us. And so when we bring joy back to the stuckness, we begin to lighten the load or loosen, right, the grips or the constraints of the older thought form in reality. With the 9 and 8, we recognize that with 2, 9, and 8 here, all being swords that are not, you know, really good swords or good communications. And I speak to that because I know we're dualizing, but we're looking at, you know, blocked communications. We're looking at improportionate realities that block or stagnate one another. And then we see the thoughts and the communications, the worries, right? The throat chakra stuff that keeps us up at night, that keeps us in a sense of worry or concern. And then we see the same thing, right? That Mercurian stuckness, limitation, aloneness, and the isolation, and the sun exposing that. Well, the sun is a part of the great melt that unfreezes or unsticks this situation, but it's your personal empowerment to save yourself and to align with the greater pastures. Hence why healing this child, this stuckness, and this aloneness is important, but also too is it's what unsticks the trajectory of happiness and abundance here on planet Earth. Okay. But we don't end on a sword, and we don't end on an 8 of swords especially. Perhaps. There we go. All right. And so there's the return of resources, right? The activation and the inspiration through source to align and to take action on allowing this to happen. Very similar to kind of like hermit energy is when we look at, we reorganize life to get it done, and the sun is the one that is liberating. This is the you can attitude and the things available to get this done. So whether it's a project, whether this is elementally something from within you that assists you to alchemize, whether this is like, for instance, right, you get the inspiration, the download, or the perception that there's something you can do, there's something you can take action on, there's inspiration here. The magician is saying you have everything available to get this done. You have everything to let this happen. This is about trusting how you work with source, how you engage with your own alignment, and how you continue to flourish and prosper in your own experience based upon your own integrity, right? So when you recognize that things have happened or things that have been created that are undoing, you don't have to create them again. You can't start anew, back to the 1, right? Yeah, I know 0 is the new beginning, but we're taking this to the new numerical 1, which is within this alignment. What can I do about it? What do I have sitting at the table that creates in a totally different way? The magician is back to the drawing board. It's back to pen and paper. It's back to the blueprint. It's back to the canvas. It's like, okay, so if I've created things, and I've created things in my life path that I'm unsticking from this new creation, what can I do? From this inspiration, from this happiness, what can I do? You can. And the magician is all about you aligning to that resourceful place from within, saying you can do this. You can do this from peace. You can do this from love, right? Back to the roses, back to the lilies. You can do this from a sense of purity. So you elementally are in an advantageous point to allow this to happen, and the sun is allowing it to happen because you're melting the tears from the older journey. You're melting the constructs, right? You're cleansing the space so the avenue can open up for what this is. Your limited self is being released. It's being released through the sun. And you've got the magic to let this happen and to create in a new way. So from this new space, where do you go from here? That's your personal compass. That's your personal journey. That's your personal tuning. That's your personal creatorship. Being accountable for what was, and then aligning to what is. All right. Love you guys. Much love and respect to all of you out there. Thank you again for your likes, shares, and subscribes. And obviously, things are blossoming. And obviously things are being uncreated, but these trigger moments don't have to have a lasting effect. You can make the shift when these triggers occur, right? You can make the shift. Interesting. I was about to pull a card on what do we do when the triggers occur. Neutralize, balance, and ground into love, right? This is that space in which our heart opens wider, our heart is more fulfilled. This is us really tapping into the essence of what Neptune represents, which is very much so that space of dream, that space of spirit, that space of energy. But here is a very big heart opener. King of Cups is one of the bigger heart opening solutions in the deck. And so this is about heart expansion and heart balancing through the field as this surfaces, because heart is reconnecting to that which mind can't conceive, but heart can actually reframe, reignite, and realign the focus of what the mind has represented, because the heart has the answer. So King of Cups, unconditional love and heart opening has the answer. Love you guys. Much love and respect to all of you out there. Thank you again for likes, shares, and subscribes. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. And until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Namaste.